Disagreement at Wouter-Basson's Health Professions Council inquiry, and a newspaper columnist in Australia found guilty of discrimination. Tempers have flared between the lawyer for cardiologist Dr. Wouter-Basson and the lawyer representing the Health Professions Council of South Africa, Solly Hubert. The council's inquiry into Basson's professional misconduct has entered its third day. The disagreement between the two parties started during the cross-examination of an expert witness from the University of Minnesota's medical school in the US, Stephen Miles. SABC reporter Sandra DeLonge has the details.
Basson's lawyer Jaap Silje told the hearing that his client was being prejudiced, saying some of the witnesses' conclusions were influenced on parts of the record he was not supposed to see. Silje referred to about 80 pages of the more than 3,000 pages of Basson's testimony during his criminal trial, which were used to formulate the charges before the HPCSA. He says the council failed to block out portions not relevant to the charges. Hubert accused the defence of delaying tactics, saying Miles never referred to those portions during his evidence. The council consequently ruled that the witness will only be allowed to refer to the portions agreed upon. Sandra DeLonge, SABC News, Pretoria.
The National Prosecuting Authority has confirmed that the authorities in the British Home Office have signed an extradition order for Shrine Dewane to be tried in South Africa for the murder of his wife, Annie. Dewane is accused of arranging Annie's murder while they were on honeymoon in Cape Town last year. He claimed they had been hijacked. 3 people have been arrested so far, and 1 has since turned state witness. NPA spokesperson Mthunzi Maha.
He has to exercise his right of appeal within 14 days, failing which the South African authorities and Interpol will have to liaise with each other so that they can facilitate his coming to South Africa. But an order will have to be sent to the High Commissioner for transmission to South Africa.
The ANC Youth League in KwaZulu-Natal says the League's National Working Committee does not have the authority to strip the Provincial League Executive of its powers. The Provincial Executive Committee was given a letter informing it of the NWC's decision yesterday. The League in the province believes the NWC has decided to disband the PEC for not supporting League President Julius Malema and for backing President Jacob Zuma for a second term as leader of the ANC. Provincial League Chairperson Mtandeni Tlungwane says no reason has been given for the decision to strip the PEC of its powers.
There is no decency of coming to us and engage us as the PEC and say on the basis of these reasons. We have not been given the reasons why the PEC has actually why the powers have actually been withdrawn. Leave alone the issue whether the NWC has got powers or not. But even the decency of coming to us and giving us reasons, because the reasons are not given in the letter.
The South African Domestic Service and Allied Workers Union has accused the DA of trying to duplicate an existing agreement to amend legislation to compensate domestic workers. Currently, the Compensation for Occupational Injuries and Diseases Act does not cover domestic workers. However, the union's General Secretary, Myrtle Witbooi, says an agreement has already been reached on the matter, although the efforts of domestic workers themselves must be considered.
That is something that we've been fighting for the last 3 years, and last month at June we won the Convention 189, who include that workmen's compensation should be extended to all domestic workers, and we feel that it's something that domestic workers themselves have fought for.
South Africa and Vietnam are in the process of finalizing a memorandum of understanding to work together to try and curb the scourge of rhino poaching. In the last couple of days, representatives from both countries have been discussing ways of collaborating on wildlife protection and law enforcement. They made the announcement in Rosebank, north of Johannesburg. SABC environmental reporter Rochelle Seaton-Rogers was there.
This year alone, South Africa's lost 309 rhino to poaching. Vietnam is one of the countries that consume rhino horn, as there is a belief there that it has medicinal properties. The Vietnamese delegation say they will embark on campaigns to educate their people that rhino horn does not contain properties to cure illnesses such as cancer. They say they will engage in medical research to prove that this is not the case and will make it public. They've also committed to improving their law enforcement and following up on rhino horns that have been taken into Vietnam as trophies to see if the horns are still being used as such. Rochelle Seaton-Rogers, SABC News, Johannesburg.
A well-known newspaper columnist in Australia, Andrew Bold, has been found guilty of breaking anti-discrimination laws. This after he wrote articles arguing that fair-skinned Aborigines often said they were black for personal gain. The BBC's Duncan Kennedy reports.
The two articles appeared in the Herald Sun in 2009. In them, Andrew Bolt questioned the motives of why some light-skinned people described themselves as Aboriginal. Mr. Bolt suggested they did it to get access to grants and other financial benefits. 9 people named in the article, who say they are Aboriginal, decided to sue. Now, a federal court has found Mr. Bolt guilty of breaching the Racial Discrimination Act, saying the articles were offensive. Mr. Bolt described the verdict as a terrible day for free speech, but the activists who brought the case said they were delighted.
Top story this hour. Tempers have flared between the lawyer for cardiologist Dr. Wouter Besson and the lawyer representing the Health Professions Council of South Africa, Sally Hubert.